Don Conroy here again. And of course today's drawing is part of the Eco Explorers Club series. And for this, of course, I'm teamed up with that wonderful group of people in SSE Airtricity. And they are sustainable partners with Dublin Zoo. So, are we ready to do some drawing? All you need is some paper, pencils, if you have some colour markers or some watercolour paints, all the better. But anyway, you can see me doing it and you can do it later on or whatever. Now, wildlife, of course, needs energy, big time. And they're very clever, a lot of them, because they don't waste energy, they use energy just when they need it. That's why you see owls sitting around for ages and birds of prey like kestrels and sparrowhawks and that. Some birds, because they don't get the right amount of food at one bite, they have to go foraging around all the time, so they're buzzing around the place. But the heron, which we're going to draw today, and the egret, they stand sometimes motionless along by a river, and then it's time to watch the fish going by. And then they pounce, boom, pretty dramatic. So they live along rivers, canals, and down by the seashore as well. So let's have a go. So this is a nice, happy looking heron, and this is the egret. Now the egret, by the way, is like a smaller version of the heron, except it's pure white and it's got yellow feet. Not that you see them too often. And this is a heron flying away. So first of all, I'm just going to show you very quickly how to actually draw the heron shape and the egret shape. Imagine an egg shape on its side like that. A line down here to indicate where you want to put the eye, and the long bill. It's almost like a dagger, you know, big long knife. So you get that bit, and then you say the body again looks almost like a big egg shape as well. And a smaller version here like that. So then you connect them up like that. And then you'll just roughly indicate where you want the wing to fold over and where you want the legs. The legs can be any way you like them, but they've got long legs. Now, over here we want to just suggest the bird flying. So I'm doing it as kind of shape that almost looks like a carrot shape. A line up like that and a line across like that, down like this and across like that, and then so that's roughly the kind of shape you want. Now down here, the egret, again much smaller, but it's a little further away from this one, so you get different effects. So you have, again, just thinking egg shapes. It's very handy, and another one like that. And then remember a line down here, and just to indicate where you want to put the eye. And then they have a little pointy bill as well. It's long, black and pointed. And would you believe that this bird was such a rare visitor to Ireland? I think people really saw it the first time back in the early 80s. And now it's quite common if you look out for it. But you have to find it along rivers and estuaries and canals like that. So I've worked that out roughly, and I'll sort of maybe put reeds or something like that. So that's called mapping out a picture. First thing I want to do is just rough in the head again. Now I don't have to do the complete egg, but you can do this with pencil, and then you can rub out the unwanted lines. So I'm roughing out this shape like that. Then you have the long bill, And by the way, the heron is the tallest bird in Ireland. And it's the most widespread heron in Europe. And probably the most familiar, most people would know that. So I'm putting kind of a nice little cartoony eye up here. Again, a bit of an egg shape and then up into a little bit of an arrow shape. But you can just do a round egg shape if you want to, whatever suits you. Now, the neck is very snaky, snake-like, you see. It goes right down like that. And then across like that. So I'm just doing this very quickly. So I'm kind of happy with that shape. And now I'm going to go over it with some ink. Again, you can use your watercolor paints, anything like that. But I'm using what's called mixed media. That's using both paints and inks and pencils. So now, there's a famous play by William Shakespeare, and in it his famous character called Hamlet says, "I know a hawk from a handsaw." He's really saying you can't fool me, but the handsaw he's talking about is this lovely bird. There's the eye, and I give him a small little bit of a smile like that. So why not? So there we go, right down like this. Follow it down very quickly. And off we go like that. Now, in the summertime, spring, summertime, they have to impress. So they have some lovely fancy plumage, as most birds do. They have special plumage for spring and summer. And so they have these lovely kind of feathers that go off like this, almost like streamers that go off like that. And then down here, just do some more of the body like that. So it's quite fun to try and draw with a brush as well. And by the way, they have these plumes that come out like that. So a big black mark there, white mark there. And then in County Wexford, a long time ago, the grey heron was known as the granny fisher. You say what? Well, the reason being is that it reminded people of a granny, an old granny. And the old grannies, back in the day, great women. What would you do without grannies? They're amazing people. But the grannies used to wear what's called a shawl, a grey shawl around their body. So that's why they ended up getting the name Granny Fisher, because this part here, which is grey, reminded people of a shawl. And she was just out catching fish for the grandchildren. Now there's the legs. Let's do this. You get the end here. And down along here you have black marks. I'll do this very quickly. They have markings right down like this. So when you do see something, as I said before, try and keep a note of it and write down the date and the time when you saw it, and especially the location and even the weather. All these things can help you build up a nice picture of a bird, whatever it is, and you build up a nice wildlife diary. Now over here, very quickly, there's the bill. And by the way, they actually tuck in their neck when they're flying. Unlike if you ever see a crane keeps its neck out, but the heron tucks it in. And I'm just drawing this very quickly. But it's always a lovely surprise when you're walking near a river. You may be going over a bridge, look over, you never know, you might see one or two of these remarkable birds and say, and let's just go over here and draw the egret. And I'll give him a little kind of concentrated look, so his eye is like this. Almost cross looking. Maybe he hadn't had some fish for a while. And there they are. Now there's different types of egrets. We have what's called a cattle egret. And sometimes if you see these wildlife programs about elephants wandering around, they have a bird's usually sitting up on top of there. And they're usually called, they're egrets. And we know them as cattle egrets because in Europe they go around with the cattle sometimes because the cattle disturb the worms and things and they busy, take advantage. So I just put the leg out like this and you can just see the shape like that, and again like that. So you get the idea. Now I'm just going to put very quickly put a little bit of colour on this. I'll start off by just putting a few reeds like this, and so I'm using a flat brush and I'm just shooting it out like that. And again, when you're drawing, you're just having a little bit of fun and you're just exploring the way brushes work and pencils work and things like that. So you're really not in any competition with anybody. But as I said, it's very important to understand why animals behave the way they do, and why and how important things like energy really is. And, all this sustainable energy and all fascinating. Now, I'm going to put a little bit of grey now. Here we are. This is me busy recycling old plastic containers. Oh, I put it, there's still a tiny bit of green in that brush, that's okay. Now you get the idea. Here's the yellow like that. And I put some yellow feet down here. Roughly indicate some water, and we have just simple as that. And sometimes you can get a bit of a blue hue off the birds, their white plumage sometimes. I'll just blacken up this just to show you that it is a black bill on this lovely bird called an egret. Such an elegant little bird. Have a look out for it. Anyway, that's just to give you an idea how to draw the heron, the egret, in a very quick way. So listen, I hope you enjoy that. And think about that whole thing about energy. And until the next time, stay safe, stay calm, and stay creative.